Hello everyone, we're gonna start with the conference number 26, which is called The World of Relationships. In this conference, we're gonna talk about different types of relationships that we have with three main aspects. The world of relationships has three very different aspects. The first one of it is the physical or planetary body relationship. The relationship with the physical body or with our planetary body, as we have said. We have a physical body, though we don't know the secrets of that complex organization that is our human machine. So we're going to take that into account. We also have a relationship with our planet Earth, that is our exterior world, our family, also our business, our profession, our occupation, regarding politics, the social organization in which we live. The third relationship is the relationship with man with himself. And this type of relationship, many people ignore it and don't really care about it. So this kind of relationship with our being is completely ignored and is not important or makes total indifference to most of the people. So food, health, money, and business as are the most main concerns to this intellectual animal mistakenly called man. Our physical body and the affairs of the external world are the most important to us. The inner world, our microcosmos, or the wisdom of our being has no importance to us. We believe that the external part is the only thing that makes importance because we can perceive it with our five senses, with the smell, our sense of touching, of hearing, our sense of tasting, and we think is the only thing that is real because we can perceive it through our five senses, though we don't know what that we have superior senses that are our psychic senses. We have the ability to perceive superior dimensions, but we haven't gotten to know that yet because we haven't explored our inner world. In our inner world, we find thoughts, emotions, feelings, and all the elements of our microcosmos: fire, water, earth, air. But we don't know that we have that inside of us. We think of ourselves like being just a human machine that goes to work mechanically, does certain activities to get some profit, some money, and just eats and sleeps and continue living mechanically. So we don't know that we have something that is more profound, that is the relationship with the divinity that we have inside ourselves. That is the wisdom and love of our being. And that is the 97% trapped conscience that is bottled up in our ego. So we believe regarding the planetary body or the physical body, we believe that we have some knowledge of how it works because we know certain things about medicine that even the best scientists don't know much about the physical body. For example, the endocrine system is totally unknown for scientists. The functioning of our glands, our pituitary gland, our pineal gland. For example, we still use fluor and some of these elements which are totally damaging our pineal gland, and we don't know about it. Using our toothpaste that has fluor, we are doing a serious damage to the functioning of our pineal gland. And that is something that we don't know about our physical body. Some uh, really useful information that we need to know. But there are many things that we don't know about that complex organization that is our body, our cells, our atoms, our molecules, and that is completely related with the functioning of our psychological flaws, of our ego, because they are composed of molecules. For example, the molecule of anger, the molecule of sadness, and the various different details of that psychological flaw are affecting our cells of the physical body, and that is far beyond our comprehension. We don't accept it, and we are completely materialistic. We only see with our five senses. The rest of the psychic senses of perception, we think they are fantasy, but it's not like that. We need to be more profound in order to get to see those types of things. So the two types of relationship that are with our physical world and with our external part, with others, we have no we have no we haven't gotten the ability, the psychic ability to self observe ourselves, because it's a ability that is atrophied in most persons that live in this third dimension. We haven't gotten the power to self observe our inner world. Therefore, we haven't been able to consciously originate the circumstances of our life. We think we are always the victims of people that surround us, that they are mean to us, that we suffer, that we are mistreated, that we are suffering by the circumstances that affect us, that we are misfortuned, and we think that is the reality. So many people that haven't been able to adapt to the circumstances or the people that surround them, they complain too much about their life, and they haven't been able to have success. So we need to think about ourselves from the angle of the Gnostic esoteric job. What is that? Well, to find, to see where is the problem, where is the lack of communication with these parts of our world, the physical body, the relationship with others, and the relationship with our being. We need to see where are we mistaking, what are we lacking to associate um, with these three types of relationship. For example, regarding the physical body, as you can see in the image, there is someone that is sick or is dying or is dead. Sorry. And that happens because we haven't gotten the chance to observe in which aspects are we lacking to take care of our physical body. For example, if we have a poor relationship with our physical body, we are gonna be sick. We are going to experience the physical death in case we have the recurrence of our physical body being destroyed by one of our psychological flaws. For example, someone that has fed all his life the psychological flaw of the alcoholism is going to have his liver completely destroyed by alcohol, and of course this psychological flaw is going to lead him to the death of his physical body. So that is an incorrect relationship with our physical body that can cause us death. the being ruined, this human machine that is our condenser of energy in the third dimension. This human machine is really important because is the tool which is going to lead us to condense our sexual energy in the different centers that we have all along our spinal cord, and is going to lead us to create us in the superior dimensions. We are going to see the fifth dimension, the astral world. We are going to travel consciously in the astral dimension if we create the astral body. So we need to take care urgently of the physical body that we have, because it is the condenser of energy that is going to allow us to create the superior existential bodies for our being, which are the vehicles to experience the different dimensions of nature, the superior dimensions. We think the only thing that is real is the third dimension, in which we find the material objects that we see, but it's not the only thing that is real. When we go to sleep at night and we have a dream, we automatically are in the fifth dimension. Now we need to pull out the conscious astral projection and be consciously entering the fifth dimension, the dimension of our dreams, so we can talk with the different parts of our being. So that is why we need to preserve our physical body, eliminating the different psychological flaws that we have within our inner world. Also, we might be wrong regarding the relationship with others, and we can suffer because we have a lot of conflicts with people, we have a lot of problems in the economical and social aspects, and we don't know, we think that we are being mistreated by the people that surround us, that we have the misfortune to encounter by causality. Well, it's causality because there is a cause for that, but we think that is by some misfortune that we encounter someone that is angry, and we have the misfortune to encounter a lot of angry people, and that are going to mistreat us. So we think we are poor victims of people, and we complain, but we don't know that we have inside our microcosmos the psychological flow of anger, and by the law of correspondence, we are going to attract angry people and circumstances of anger, discussions, fights, insults, curses, many things about related to the psychological flow of anger if we have it in our microcosmos. And of course, it's not running away from people and from certain places that we are going to end up with those scenes of discussions and anger. No, we can go and get away from all people that we know that are angry, and go to a mountain and convert ourselves into hermits, but that is not going to eliminate the psychological flow of anger from our psyche. The way that we are going to get along with people and be able to live in a society without having to suffer from anger problems is just analyzing in ourselves, why are we being angry, why are we having those situations, why do we want to mechanically react with insults, with violence, with the wrong use of our force, because anger is an explosion of the incorrect use of our power. Yeah, we feel a lot of fire in ourselves. We push our fists. We get so tight. Our body gets really tense, and those are the reactions of anger. How can we solve, for example, a problem regarding that psychological flaw? Well, analyzing why is that I get angry with those circumstances. And we're going to take, for example, a scene of our life in which we had a discussion with, for example, our sister. Oh, my sister told me, criticized me, and told me that I'm dressing inappropriately. So I get really angry and frustrated. I think that she's annoying me. She's being well, really abusive with me, telling me those things, criticizing my appearance. Well, she needs to mess with her things and all of that. So I'm going to analyze why am I reacting mechanically with a lot of frustration. Why am I offended in my ego that people criticize the way I dress? So maybe I found that is vanity, maybe I found that is pride. So I'm going to get to the cause of my suffering so I can eliminate the cause of that tension. That is how I'm going to improve my relationship with others and be able to get along and have harmony externally. But I'm going to get to external harmony because I'm going to be able to um, transcend my anger and internally originating harmony in my microcosmos. But it's from the inside to the outside, from the inside to the outside that I'm going to be working. First, I'm going to need to solve the lack of harmony internally so that can be reflected externally. I'm gonna silence here a microphone. So the way I'm going to be solving that lack of functioning in my relationship with others is working first in my psychological flaws. So, by the law of correspondence, I'm going to be attracting harmony externally too. But if I don't work in my anger, in my lust, in my pride, in my envy, I'm not going to have a proper relationship with people because I'm going to be attracting what I have inside. If I have darkness inside, I'm going to attract that darkness into my life. So the cause of my darkness is my ego. I need to eliminate that ego in order to be attracting conscious circumstances. That is from the internal enlightenment that I'm going to attract light into my life. So, our relationship with our inner world. As you can see in the image, our inner world right now is like a garage that we have that is really dirty, abandoned, and that we don't even know that we have some things hidden there that have been hidden for many centuries from our past lives, many dark creations of our ego that are hidden here and there, many monstrous creations of our egos of lust, greed, envy, pride, anger, and gluttony that are hidden there, and we haven't even gotten to know that we have that inside of us unless some circumstances externally trigger that we don't know. For example, I can think of myself that I'm really sociable, I'm really kind, I'm really generous, but I found a circumstance in which someone wants me to give him a piece of my favorite dessert, and automatically I see that the ego of anger comes out, the ego of selfishness. This is my piece of cake, is my favorite cake. I'm not gonna give you anything from that, and stop being abusive with me. This is mine, it's my birthday present, etc. etc. So we think that we are really generous, kind, we are really sociable, but in the moment that certain circumstances trigger our egos, they are going to come out. And if we haven't worked in dissolving those psychological flaws, well, they are going to take out the darkness that we have hidden in this garage. So, in the relationship with our inner world, we can suffer because we might have lack of internal enlightenment. We think that we haven't got a connection with our divinity. You can name it God or whatever you think is the superior being that created this world, or the reason for our existence, or if you are totally materialistic and you don't think that there is a purpose or a creator, I don't know, well, you need to analyze internally what is the purpose of the existence, and that is the biggest question of all, because we can have many superficial questions regarding the economical and social aspects, regarding if a pandemic, for example, is going to end up or not. But the biggest question that we have as human beings is, what is the purpose of this existence? What is it worth to fighting or living? Just eating for living and working for living, and working for having something to eat? Is that it? Mechanically, just like that, in the material thing, just to um, live, reproduce, be born, be born, live, reproduce, have a family, and die? Is that it? Well, there is something more transcendental beyond that. And our inner world is being able to connect with the superior parts of our being, with our Father of wisdom and our Mother, that is the principle of love, that are the superior centers of our human machine. They are found in the pineal and pituitary gland, and there is our 3% of awakened conscience. Is the part of our being that tells us that there is something bigger than just living the ordinary and normal life that we live just mechanically. Something bigger and transcendental. There is the light at the bottom of all our superficial things of personality, all our toys of the personality, like the cell phone, like the parties, like the being recognized, having money. There is something that connects us with the reasons and the essence of life itself. That is our inner world. So if we have incorrect relationships, we're gonna end up in a pessimistic mood. We are going to be the victims all the time. There are a lot of circumstances that make people, see the dark part of life, only the negative aspects of life. That, for example, people that suffer from a disease in the physical body, and they are tired of visiting doctors, of having some medicines that they think are going to solve the lack a correct relationship with the physical body, and they are tired and they are disappointed, and they just want to end up with their life because they cannot solve the problem with their physical body, and they suffer a lot from their karma. They don't know about karma and how to transcend it. Many millionaires who have lost their fortune, and because they think the most important thing in life is to have money, to be recognized, to have a lot of comfort, and a lot of richness is the most important thing in life. They stop having a sense of life if they lose what they think is the most important of all. So they end up even in committing suicide. And when we talk about the esoteric practitioners that don't have a correct relationship with the intimate part, with the intimate world, they are discouraged because they lack of psychic powers, they lack of interior enlightenment. They think they are going to renounce the esoteric job. So those are things that make us forget of our being. Our being is the force of light and wisdom that makes us see the light even in the darkest situations. We can know that we're going to be benefited by adversity. If we didn't have adversity, we didn't have the psychological material to work in our inner world. If all was happiness and harmony, there wouldn't be psychological material to work in liberating our ego and learning something about our darkness. So in the worst temptations, discouragement, and states of despair, we can do something different. Instead of drowning ourselves in a glass of water, or thinking that we have no reason to live, and being disappointed by the circumstances of life, being drowned in our sorrows, we need to end up solving these kind of inappropriate relationships. How are we going to solve the inappropriate relationships? Well, we are going to do something that is the intimate remembrance of oneself. We need to remember the force and the power of our being. We need to remember the fire of love and the light of wisdom, which is the immense richness that our being has. We need to ask ourselves, is what I'm thinking true, fair, and useful? Does, does it matches with the love, wisdom, and justice of our being? For example, when I have the ego of envy and I'm going to talk trash about someone, I'm going to gossip about that person, and I'm going to diminish the person in front of others in order to make myself look better than her, I'm going to ask myself, is this truth, fair, and useful what I'm going to do? Is it love, wisdom, and justice what I'm going to do? So no, it's my ego of envy, and I'm going to ask my divine mother, eliminate me this ego of envy. I'm going to transcend the recurrence of fighting with that person, of externally having a lot of unpleasant circumstances, having fights with that person, and transcend that problem. Also, in a different conference that we already saw, we talked about karma and how to negotiate it. We also can talk to the different parts of our being in order to solve the problems that we have in the different types of relationships with our physical body, with the people that surround us, and with our being. We can solve all the situations that we have if we talk with the different parts of our being in order to pay the karma that the psychological flow has. It's a debt, so we need to pay it by conscious acts. So at the bottom of each one of us, we have the Aztec Tonantzin, the Stella Maris, or the Egyptian is Isis, or Godmother, our different representations of our Godmother. And our Godmother is the principle of love, that is a superior law that can transcend it all and that can heal the pain of our heart and stop the suffering that we have and the suffering that the different psychological laws cause us. They are named the seven causal egos because they are the cause of our suffering. We need to dissolve our ego in order to dissolve the problems consciously. Instead of suffering and looking to blame someone, to blame the circumstances, we are going to look inside ourselves and stop being victims of the circumstances. We are going to dissolve anger, hate, lust, greed, envy, pride, gluttony. We are going to dissolve the causes of our sufferings and heal ourselves from the inside to the outside. So here is a method in how to meditate in order to heal our physical body, our being, and the relationship with others. We are going to be able to heal these three aspects that we are lacking to find an appropriate relationship. We are going to heal the problems with the outside world, reflecting how do I relate with my physical body? How am I affecting my physical body, for example, with the psychological flow of anger? For example, in violent reactions, uh, my heart, I see that my heart is beating fast, that my fists are tight, I see that I'm really tense, that I have a pain in my heart when I get angry. So I see that I am really affecting my physical body with that negative emotion. I am destroying it. So I'm going to take care of my physical body, eliminating this psychological flaw. For example, another psychological flaw that really affects our physical body is depression. Depression can lead us to even commit violent actions with our physical body. So we need to eliminate depression in order to avoid affecting or being violent with ourselves. In our inner world, we need to look how do I relate with my being, and am I communicating with my being in an astral dimension, in a conscious astral projection? Am I meditating in order to see what is happening inside of me? Am I recognizing my mechanical reactions, my emotions, my thoughts? Do I know why do I act the way I act? No, maybe I don't know anything about that. So I need to explore my microcosmos and fix the relationship with my being. Regarding our outside world, the planet Earth, am I being conscious with my planet? Am I caring about the natural resources, about my job? For example, in my job, am I being conscious with the planet? Because if I work in a place in which people throw mechanically garbage, for example, in a in an industry that produces a lot of trash. So am I being conscious with the planet? Uh, and many psychological flaws that are regarded to uh, um, the violent actions to nature. So I'm going to reflect how am I attempting to live on the planet? How do I relate with others? My relationship in the outside world. Do I have a lot of conflicts at home, in my job, in the different social circles that I have? So I'm going to look at myself internally to meditate in that different aspects. For example, if I have problems with other people, I can make a list in which I write down the problems that I having with other people, which are the people that annoy me, the people that I don't get along with, and the psychological flaws that I think they have. Really, what happens there is that those psychological flaws that I criticize externally in others are the psychological flaws that are stronger in me and that I need to work with urgency. So those are the aspects that you need to reflect to fix these different types of relationships. Well, it's been a pleasure for me to talk about this knowledge with you, and I think, well, I hope that is really useful for you and your internal work in your different um, circumstances of your microcosms. Well, good evening, and I hope that you can fix those relationships and get to practice. Thank you very much for listening to the conference. See you later.